A response to George Will, who claims there is privilege in having the title rape victim. Dear Mr. Will, when you stated that being a victim of rape comes with a privilege, it seems as if you've forgotten your own, as if being a white man in America doesn't provide you with enough in the first place. I don't know where you've dug the graves to fill with women's voices, but our screams will not be a burial ground to all the problems you refuse to believe are alive and well. Mr. Will, according to you, we can trust every boy that hands us a drink. Every man is allowed to turn what's mine into his. I guess you've caught on to us. That somehow trying to make it through 4 years of school while paying overpriced tuition is not enough. So we must make everyone pity us for what society has made into natural disaster. According to you, some of the privileges of being a rape survivor include balancing daily life with war zone, being a POW to sleepless nights and never-ending panic attacks, telling your story of invasion, a body made foreign over and over again to those who may never believe you because you had alcohol in your system, your university dismissing your claims due to lack of evidence, but your body is burning to ash in front of them, or your attacker remaining 4 seats behind you in a class you need to graduate every day for the next 8 weeks. Mr. Will, the only privilege a survivor of rape has is being 1,000 little pieces in a culture that only loves their women broken. The people who claim that rape is glorified are the same ones who use the term date rape all too frequently. As if there is anything romantic about someone you trust destroying your body, personal value, and then your reputation. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, Mr. Will, but rape survivor is not a title of honor. But maybe it's because you've never had to fend unwanted hands off your skin. Maybe you've never had to walk home with your head down for fear that eye contact invites harassment. Maybe you've never walked a foot in these shoes. What would you say if one of the millions was your daughter? Would you hang her pretty, framed above her bed? Tell her how lucky she is to be so crooked. Tell her how much better she looks all dressed up in apology, that now she finally has something to be proud of. Now she can hang right next to the soccer trophies on her wall, right under the picture of your wife. Do you think she will smile every time a man chooses to invade what is rightfully hers? We are tired of shouting over your deafening ignorance and our screams not being heard. Do not speak for our bodies. Do not speak of survivor when you have never seen our war. We do not need your Purple Heart to prove that we survived, Mr. Will. Being a woman is not a privilege. When you still speak rape, is nothing more than a badge of honor. Thank you. So that was a collaborative group piece. I hope I did it some justice. The next poem I'm going to be doing is, I think it's applicable to everyone. It's called Things I Would Say to Younger Me. And I think we could all kind of relate to that. If you could go back in time and see yourself at every age, would you do it? Now, I know that's a tough question to answer. Maybe you don't want to remember any of the things you went through, or the embarrassing moments, or people you once knew. Maybe there's just too much future ahead to even want to look back. But see, I know for a fact that if I was given that chance, I would lunge at it. There have been many times in my life where I wish I had been told something I didn't know, and so if I could go back and tell myself all the things I know now, I would. I would start at age 3. I would tell the younger and much smaller version of me to not be pushed around. I would tell her not to let her older brother climb on her back, because then she could avoid the 7 stitches on her chin that would follow shortly after. I would tell her, yes, he loves you and just wants to play, but if you're going to play horse season, you could have sit on his back. I would fast forward to 7-year-old me and tell her to speak up. I'd say use your voice and your words so that 10 years in the future, you don't have to constantly be reminded by family members of how you never used to talk. I would go back and spend some time with 9-year-old me. I would tell her that her shaky hands are cool and that the bullies that give her mean names at school are only doing it because they don't understand it. I would tell her to hold that microphone and sing her heart out even if her voice shakes. I would make plans with 11-year-old me and tell her straight up that middle school is the farthest thing from easy. I would tell her to be friends with everybody and not worry when she's not invited to some party, because who needs friends like that anyway? And there will soon come a day when you'll meet your real ones. And I think 13-year-old me would need the most talking to. I would tell her that there are other ways to handle things, that depression doesn't have to be a secret. You could tell somebody. I would turn to that 13-year-old girl and say, put the razor down, you don't need it, and you don't know it right now, but it's gonna get better, and say, don't do it. Don't even try it, because even though you think it's a one-time thing, it can be addicting. And speaking of addicting, I would go to 15-year-old me and say, I know it's tempting, but don't start smoking things. That the people who say it's not addicting are lying. It's a waste. It will only make you more sad, and yeah, it may feel good in the moment, but it's just temporary. And lastly, I would go back and talk to 16-year-old me. I would tell her to hug the one she loves a little bit tighter, because in the future that's to come, cancer will become a word that you'll be all too familiar with. I would also praise her for overcoming her struggles and realizing that there's more to live for. Current me is only still learning that it gets better, and if I could, I would hold each version of me tightly in my arms and tell them that it's going to be okay. I would tell them whatever stuff they're dealing with will eventually fade. I would listen to their problems when no one else will and tell them I am still here. And guess what? I am still here. Thank you.